All right, we're going to do a Christmas song that was written around, I think, the 16th century, maybe even earlier. And many of you may know it as Greensleeves, but it's also a lovely ballad with different words for what child is this. Now let's begin by doing a quick analysis of what we have here. There's a single sharp, and that single sharp would tell us that we're in the key of G or the relative minor of E minor. And in this case, we look at the chart and we can see that we're starting on an E minor and we play 5 measures. We're back to an E minor, back to an E minor, and so on. And we end on an E minor, so we are in E minor. The chords that we have are all diatonic chords. This would be the 3, this would be the flat 7, this would be the 5 in E minor, right? I can tell that they're all diatonic chords with one exception, and that's that B7, which we've discussed in the past. The B7 has the raised 7th degree. There it is, right? And that produces the chord of B7. Okay. And everything else is diatonic. So the only note that's not diatonic to a natural minor or an E natural minor is the D sharp note. And I think there may be a C sharp note, a raised 6th degree as well, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, right? So raised 6th degree as well, which would happen in a melodic minor. Okay, so it's generally very pure. It's not like a jazz tune or anything. Now, before I move, just in my own practicing, if I decide to do an arrangement of a song like this, and I want to get my hands used to the fretboard again and my ears used to the tonality. What I tend to do is I just start working my way through some of the triads. So these are just E minor triads. It's a nice way to sort of get you feeling the fretboard and listening to the tonality, just playing around the fretboard. And then I would do it with the key of G. It's similar to playing scales, which I would do as well. There's that harmonic minor scale. I would make this like a method of practice. I would be extracting the tonality and so on from the tune itself. Okay, and then I would jump into the tune, which we're going to do together now. All right, so we begin with G chord, D chord. I'm going to add this bottom D. There's a B minor triad. I'm just making it a bigger chord. Let's do that again from the beginning. E minor. B7. Remember that I always have to keep the melody on top. That's why I'm changing chord voicings, right? B7, C sharp, E minor. And then G way up on top. back up to 10th fret. All right, let's do that one more time, and I'll just maybe explain it a little bit more this time through. I have my E on top. I could play that with a triad. G triad with a suspension because it's in the melody. And then D, adding the D in the bass. And I'm just playing the E minor open. I can do this too. C. I could play B7 up here. B7, B7, B7. To the E minor, and then way up in the 10th fret. Back to the 10th. All right, I think that's easy enough to do, and remember to work your way through the triads. Work them around the fretboard. Get used to getting those underneath your fingers, and do it with each of the chords that we have here. Remember, this is diatonic with the exception of two notes, one being the D sharp, which gives us the B7 chord, and the other, which is a C sharp, the raised 6th degree, which gives us a melodic minor scale if we want to go that far. But it's only one note, so we don't really have to worry about it. And also remember that when you're playing in a solo style, in a chord melody style, the melody always has to stay on top of the chord. And that's why we want to learn our triads up and down the fretboard, because every time you change a triad, if you invert a triad, like for instance, here I've got the E on top. Here I've got a G on top. Here I've got a B on top, right? So it's much easier to accommodate the melody, and that's the point in the chord melody style and in arrangements, guitar arrangements generally. All right, great, thanks. Merry Christmas.